In a dramatic and significant legal development, Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard has suffered a major setback. A judge has permanently blocked her controversial appointments to several key village positions, sending shockwaves through the community and raising crucial questions about Henyard's leadership, governance style, and her ability to navigate the legal and political challenges of running a local government. This ruling has not only affected Henyard's immediate plans for the village, but has also sparked a broader debate about transparency, accountability, and the role of elected officials in making decisions that impact their communities. The legal battle surrounding Henyard's appointments has become a focal point of discussion in Dolton, with residents, officials, and political analysts all weighing in on what this ruling means for the future of the village and for Henyard's political career. Tiffany Henyard, a rising political figure in Dolton, became the mayor of the village in 2021, taking office with a promise of change. She campaigned on a platform of reform, advocating for a more efficient and transparent local government. Henyard's vision for Dolton was one of revitalization and progress, and she quickly set to work implementing her ideas for reform. As part of her strategy to reshape the village's administration, Henyard made several high-profile appointments to key positions within the government. These positions were crucial for overseeing critical areas like public safety, economic development, and village administration. Henyard's supporters believed these appointments were necessary to ensure the village could move forward and meet the challenges it faced. However, not everyone shared Henyard's vision. Critics of the mayor began to voice concerns about the way she handled these appointments. Some questioned the qualifications of the individuals Henyard had chosen for these roles. They argued that some of the appointees lacked the necessary experience and expertise to effectively manage the responsibilities of their positions. Others raised concerns about the process itself, suggesting that Henyard had made the appointments without proper oversight, transparency, or public input. The controversy surrounding Tiffany Henyard's appointments quickly escalated. Local residents, political opponents, and some members of the village council began to speak out against the mayor's decisions. They argued that Henyard had bypassed established procedures for making these appointments, including the requirement for public hearings and approval from the village board. These legal requirements were designed to ensure that appointments to key positions were made in a fair and transparent manner, with input from both the public and elected officials. As the controversy grew, a legal challenge was filed against Henyard's appointments. The plaintiffs in the case argued that the mayor had violated local laws by failing to follow the proper process for filling these important positions. They claimed that Henyard had made the appointments without consulting the village board or holding public hearings as required by Dolton's municipal code. Tiffany Henyard's legal team defended the mayor's actions, asserting that the appointments were within her authority as mayor and that they were made in good faith. Henyard herself publicly stated that the appointments were necessary to move Dolton forward and that she had selected individuals who shared her vision for the village's future. She also emphasized that the individuals she appointed were qualified for the roles and that the process was designed to bring fresh perspectives to the village government. Despite Henyard's defense, the case proceeded to court, where a judge carefully reviewed the evidence. The legal arguments on both sides were presented, with Henyard's team maintaining that the mayor's actions were within the bounds of her authority, while the plaintiffs argued that the appointments were illegal and violated the principles of transparency and fairness. After a thorough examination of the case, the judge issued a ruling that would have far-reaching consequences for Tiffany Henyard and her administration. The court found that Henyard's appointments had indeed violated local laws, specifically the procedures for filling key village positions. The judge ruled that the mayor had failed to follow the required process, which included holding public hearings and obtaining approval from the village board. As a result, the judge issued a permanent injunction, blocking the appointments and ordering that the positions be re-evaluated. This ruling was a significant blow to Tiffany Henyard's administration. It not only invalidated her appointments, but also raised questions about her ability to govern effectively. Henyard's critics saw the ruling as a victory for transparency and accountability, arguing that it sent a clear message that elected officials must adhere to the law and follow proper procedures when making decisions that affect the community. On the other hand, Henyard's supporters were disheartened by the ruling, viewing it as an unnecessary obstacle to her efforts to bring change to Dolton. They argued that the mayor's appointments were made in good faith and were essential for the progress of the village. For them, the court's decision was a setback in Henyard's quest to implement her vision for Dolton's future. In the aftermath of the ruling, Tiffany Henyard's leadership has come under intense scrutiny. The judge's decision to permanently block her controversial appointments has raised important questions about her ability to navigate the complex legal and procedural requirements that come with governing a local community. Henyard's administration has been forced to face the reality that her approach to leadership might not have been as airtight as she and her supporters believed. The court's decision has thrown a wrench in her plans for reform and has sent shockwaves through the village of Dolton, with many questioning whether Henyard's governance style is too aggressive or whether it disregards the necessary checks and balances of the political system. The legal challenges that Henyard faces have already had a significant impact on her political standing. As the ruling has reverberated throughout the village, the public's perception of Henyard's leadership has been deeply shaken. Some residents and political analysts have raised concerns about the mayor's ability to lead in a way that is both transparent and legally sound. They argue that Henyard's approach to appointments lacked the necessary oversight and public input, and that the judge's ruling serves as a reminder that no one, not even the mayor, is above the law. These critics believe that Henyard's disregard for established procedures and the proper processes for appointing key officials could have lasting consequences for the community, especially if it sets a precedent for future governance. Despite this, Tiffany Henyard's supporters have rallied behind her, emphasizing that this ruling is a setback but not the end of her political career. They argue that Henyard's leadership is exactly what Dolton needs to move forward. For her supporters, the ruling is just another hurdle to overcome in a long road of reform. They believe that Henyard's resolve will only be strengthened by the legal challenges she faces, and they stress that the mayor's vision for the village is one of much-needed change. Henyard's supporters point out that Dolton has struggled with stagnation for years, and they see Henyard as the leader who can break through that inertia. They also emphasize that the mayor is the one willing to take bold, decisive action to bring about reform, even if that means taking risks and facing legal challenges. On the other hand, critics of Henyard's leadership view the ruling as a clear indication that her style of governance is deeply problematic. They argue that her disregard for established procedures, her lack of transparency in making appointments, and her failure to involve the village board in the decision-making process have all contributed to a growing mistrust of her leadership. For these critics, the court's decision is not just a legal victory, it's a victory for good governance. They see the ruling as an affirmation that local officials must be held accountable to the people they serve, and that transparency and fairness are essential components of any functioning government. These critics worry that Henyard's approach could lead to further legal challenges down the road, and that her leadership may be too divisive to lead the village through its ongoing challenges. As Tiffany Henyard moves forward, her political future remains uncertain. The ruling blocking her appointments has raised serious questions about her ability to implement her agenda and whether she can continue to lead Dolton effectively. Henyard's legal team has indicated that they will pursue an appeal of the decision, but the outcome of that appeal remains highly uncertain. If the ruling is upheld, Henyard will face significant challenges in moving forward with her plans for Dolton. She will need to reconsider her approach to appointments and governance and work to rebuild the trust of both the village board and the community at large. If the ruling is overturned, however, Henyard could regain her momentum and continue her efforts to reform the village government. But even in that case, the legal battle will have likely left a mark on her political career, and Henyard may have to work hard to restore her credibility and overcome